Hello and welcome to class training. We will get started pretty shortly. Okay. Okay, so there's this here about audio. I'm hoping you got those messages in the chat as well. So there's the questions panel for questions if you do have them. Okay. Before we do begin, I will acknowledge that we are all on unceded Indigenous lands. I'm coming to you from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I myself have a connection to the lands of the Awabakal people. I'd like to pay respects to all elders, whether they be past, present, or emerging, and recognise that these lands were never ceded and that sovereignty was never extinguished. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping for today. This software doesn't let you unmute yourself, so if you do have a question, you can pop it into the question section of your control panel. That question can also be, can you take me off mute so I can ask my question? And I will try to do that. This session is being recorded. I'll do my best to have it on the website by the end of the week, preferably by the end of the day. I think we've got 30 minutes scheduled for today. We'll see how we go. I'll come back to that in just a minute. Welcome to class training for today. This is part 2 of our series of class training sessions for class administrators. So those who administer class for a legal service provider, aka a centre. Today we're going to go through some admin tools. So some of this does get a bit tricky. Some of it is really technical, and I'll show you the basics of some of it, but if you need more advanced help with some of this stuff, I will have to refer you to other experts because I'm not an expert in some of this myself. My name is Samuel Martin. I've been with CLCs Australia for 3 years and doing these training sessions for about the last 2 years. Okay, here's a brief overview of our session. We're going to go through all of that stuff. As I said, we have about 30 minutes scheduled. I might crack into it because I'm not sure how this is going to go. We'll see how we go. Some of this won't take long, but hopefully we won't go over time. But just so you are aware, that is a possibility. Okay, let's crack into it. We'll start with audit logs. So if you do want to find out what happened in class, we can find out some things. There are some limitations. If you want to see if a record was viewed by a particular individual, class doesn't record those things. So if you want to know, did this particular solicitor look at this particular client's record? We can't tell you that. We don't record that much information, but there is quite a bit of it. Some of it is more useful than others. Let's flick over to class and we'll have a look at what we're talking about. There's class there. Okay, so I'm going to start in the bottom left and I'm going to click on tools. What did I say? Audits. I'm not. I'm going to go to system settings. So last week we were talking about worker and user accounts. And so I'm going to start in system settings as well today because there's a couple of tools for you in here. And then I'll click on tools and we'll go through everything in there. So starting with audits, which are right here at the bottom of that menu. And we've got 4 options. Now you can split these into half. The data audit log and the exception log are very similar. And then the user authentication log and the user session log are also very similar. I'll open the user authentication log and the user session log. So let's have a look at we'll have a look at the user session log. So this is going to tell us the username of the person who's logged in. Now that's going to be an email address, so you're going to be able to figure out who it is. Oh, you've also got the display name, which makes it even easier still. It'll tell you what time they logged in, what time they logged out, if there was an actual log out. It'll give you the duration of their session and their IP address. Now, you may want to use this if you're trying to find out has someone logged in or not. If you're trying to answer the specific question, this audit log, the user session log, may help you out. The user authentication log might have a bit more information in it. So this is going to give us the username, the date, there's their IP address. So it gives us the date and time in one. Here's a bit of information. I don't think this is going to tell you much. It'll tell you where they logged into. Now, this is just going to be centre.classlaw.org.au. Now, it will tell you whether it was allowed or not. Now, I'll do a search for denied if that's going to work. Well, you're not working. There we go. Okay, just so I can show you this column here, reason. The account doesn't have permission to access this content. So if someone tells you, I'm trying to log in and it's not working, you could come into this audit log, and then if it says denied, and then it says this is the reason why, and then you see that it says admin.classlaw.org.au, that tells you they're trying to log into the wrong class portal or whatever. We have numerous different euphemisms for that word, portal. Anyway, this might be the reason. So the password username you entered is incorrect. So you might get a bit more information out of this one than you might out of the user session log. So we've also got the other two. I'll show you the exception log and I'll come back to the data audit log. I might open it while I'm waiting for that one. No, actually, I'm wrong. I'll show you the audit log. This is audit log. This is the data audit log. I'll show you the exception log last. The audit log. So if you want to know what happened to a record, so I'll go, I'm making this up. See, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. So if I do a search in this record column for a record, it might be a client ID, it might be a service ID, you will get information about what has happened to this particular record. So here we're searching for a client and we can see it was inserted on the 10th of November 2018 by this particular user, IT Magnet Admin, ignore that. We're ordering for a client. Here's the client ID that we search for, and we're saying, and this is telling us that this was inserted into class on this date and time. If I click here, I might get a bit more information about what happened as well. So this is going to tell us, I'll scroll to the bottom. It's going to tell us the category ID was set to full client. Is a referral client was set to false. So it's going to give us a bunch more information in there. So if you're maybe looking for what happened with this client record, who changed it and when and why and what did they actually change, you might come in and maybe it was changed recently. Let's pretend this is, I don't know, yesterday. We could come in and see that maybe it's this record and this particular user, who is me, I set is active to false, is primary to true, is primary false. So that's not really telling us a lot. Let me close that. Oh, for the address. Okay, so this is for the address. So it looks like I changed an address record. So you might get a bit of information out of this particular audit log. There's always the help desk if you do need help with these things. Now the application error log, I'll show you this. It may not, this might be the one that you may not get as much information out of. This is what it looks like. So you get an error date, so it's a log of errors, and there's your date, and then this, you get a stack trace. This is mostly here for the developers of class. They might get some information out of this. If this means anything to you, great. It means absolutely nothing to me, nor does any of this. I just thought I would show you what it is. Don't know if that's going to help you or not, but let us know if you do want help with it. Okay, let's move on. Audit logs, we've also got, this will be really quick. Center configuration, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Center profile, so if I go to the top of this, navigation menu and click on center profile, I'll close that because I'm done with it. There's a bunch of basic information in here. This reporting administrator is one of the more interesting things in here. Whoever that is set to will get emails regarding accountability. If you don't really know what accountability means, then you probably don't need to worry about this. If you do, and you want to get emails from your program manager regarding accountability, you might want to set that to yourself or whoever that is supposed to be. Now, this will be the name of your center, a center ID. Just leave your AD tenant ID as it is. your ABN and ACN and some other basic information about your centre can go in here. If you'd like to let us know who your primary office contact is, please do so. You can add your addresses. This is mostly for your office locations. Not mandatory, but you can add them there if you want. You can add documents regarding your centre. I'm not sure exactly what you would put in here, but you can if you would like to upload documents to class, feel free to do so. Email servers. This one I've got a slide for, but it basically says I don't really know how these work. I think you will need at least one of these set up if you want class to email you. So class will email you about a bunch of things, which you probably already know about. So you will need one of these set up. So if the emailing is not working right, or if you just need to set one up or whatever it is, you would come in here and you would go new. And then you have to fill in all this, but I can't tell you exactly how all of this works because it's pretty technical and I'm not really an expert in this sort of stuff. We might have information on our website that could help if this needs to be done. We also do have, or we could find experts, so we could get this set up for you if needs be. Okay. The next piece, I'm fairly sure, is going to be my slide on those email servers. If you need help with them, we do sometimes as well, but we can get them set up, as I was saying, if you need that done. Okay. Email logs. So this will be a record of all emails sent by a class. Let's have a look at it. So I'm pretty sure that is in tools. So let's start on this navigation menu here, tools, and we'll start at the very top, the email log. Okay. So you might use this if you want to know, did class actually send that email? I don't know, it wasn't received. Someone's saying they didn't get the email. Did it actually go out? So you could come in here, you could have a look for, that's not telling us much, the date and time. You could have a look for error status sent to, who it was sent to. So I want to know, was that because I thought I was going to get an email there and I didn't get one. Did it send? Or someone's telling me they thought they were going to get an email and they're saying they didn't get it. So I might come in here and have a search for who I'm looking for, and we can see in here, there we go. There was an email not sent on the 29th of the 6th, pretend that's maybe yesterday or whatever. And this is saying it was failed and why. So if you need information on that, you can find that information as well. So we've got the email logs there. The next one is the message board. It's a basic Word document editor. This is the message board. So when you first open class, or when your users, your staff first open class, they'll see the message board. This is our one from the Class Opdex team. This is your one. If you want to use it, this is how you do it. You would go to Tools and Message Board. And as I said, it's a basic Word editor. I can then go and make edits. Edits, and that's not how you spell edits, and then I can do basic formatting. I could do whatever I want, blah, 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 and then just click save. Once I click save, or even save and close, that will then display on the message board right here. So you can set up your message board however you want. Okay, we're going all right for time. What have we got next? Bulk inserts, I like this one. So this is a good one for anyone who knows about it. There's probably not going to be much new information in here for you. For those who aren't aware of this, don't know what I'm talking about, this is a good little tool, I reckon. It lives here, bulk insert, and what it is a record of your information and referral services. So rather than going to class and then going new intake or whatever, and then adding another information service, and then another person walks in and you hand them a flyer half an hour later as well, and then you'd go through the same process. What you could do is keep a tally. I know of some centres who have a big whiteboard in the office by the phones, and then they just put a mark on the whiteboard every time they need to, and then at the end of the month they come in and they set up one of these. So this works by months. you do one at the end of the month. So we've got one here for August 2022. So I'll set up a new one. So we could have a look at an old one if we wanted to. I'll show you how to set up a new one, just so you know. Click on new, and then once you've got a new one, you'll basically know how to edit an existing one if you want to. Year, I'm going to put in the year. The month is required. As I said, they work on months. You do one at the end of every month or whenever, but they work on months. I'll go October. You can put in notes if you want to. A funding category, you would most likely just select whatever funding category you like. Now, your referrals, you can say that these were either facilitated or simple. I don't know why you would put facilitated referrals in here if you're going to do a warm referral. My thinking is the way that my brain works is that you would keep more information about a warm referral than just this, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you want to do that, so you can if you want to. You will need to unlock this. So we've got this checkbox here, locked. You need to unlock it to enter the data in. Now that's kind of important. I'll come back to it, but you need to lock this if you want this data to appear in your reports. Okay, so I've set up the basics for my bulk insert. I will click save. Record is saved successfully. That's great. It's going to reload that tab. Now what it does is it gives me a new tab. So when you're setting up a new one, it gives you your basic bulk insert tab. Once you save these basic details, it then lets you set up your actual bulk insert, which lives here in this details tab. Now, I always warn everyone, don't freak out when you see what's in here. It looks pretty scary. I freaked out the first time I saw it, which is why I always give this warning, but don't freak out. It's not as bad as it looks. It freaked me out when I first saw it, so I just warn people. It's a massive grid. It's basically kind of a spreadsheet, but it's not as scary as it looks. So up here we've got, so these are people you can refer to across the columns. And down the rows you've got problem types. So what you could do is say we did a referral regarding abduction, hopefully not, I'll say child support. Regarding child support to a community support service, I'm just making this up. You could say we did one. No, obviously you wouldn't, I'm just demonstrating. You would then click save. That would then go into your reports as a referral that you did. Okay, the other way to work with this is to scroll to the bottom. This sometimes doesn't work for me, but hopefully it won't play up for me today. Okay, great. So at the bottom, we've got problem type other. Now, in the far right of the columns, we've got information only, and we've got other referrals. So what you could do is, you could come to the bottom right, the very bottom right, and you could say, we did 500 informations this month, and they're all for problem type other, because we just want to get it in as quick as possible. Plus we did 500 referrals as well. These are just simple referrals we did. They're also for problem type other because we just want to get it in as quick as possible. I'll click save. Now, as I was saying before, you will need to lock this bulk insert before those numbers appear in your reports. So when you're bringing data out of class, they will appear in your reports as long as this bulk insert is saved. Now, if you want to work with this a bit more, a bit more properly, if you want to be a bit more specific about which problem types they are or who you're referring to, or both, either or both or whatever, do so. If you want to do it the quick and easy way, that's how you do that. Now, I just want to demonstrate. I don't like to harp on things, but don't forget to lock them and then resave. Okay, so those are the bulk inserts. I think it's a great little tool. I do know of several centres who are using it. As I was saying, there's a centre who's got a big whiteboard and they copy this, they copy the grid, and then they go and mark it up every day. Anyway, that's bulk insert. So they've got that copied to a spreadsheet, sorry, not a spreadsheet, you could do that, but they've got it on a whiteboard. Okay, that's bulk inserts. Okay, this is what Printout Templates does to my brain. It may be the same for you. This is not simple stuff. This is complex. If you do need help with it, we do have a couple of experts who can help you with them and do. help people with them. So let us know. I'll show you the very basics, but that's about the limit of my knowledge on these things. Printout templates live here below bulk inserts, and what they are basically, they are the templates for what gets printed onto a sheet of paper. So you'll get your basic ones and you'll just print, and it's just got a standard template that have been set up for everyone. But you can make your own. So I could click new. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing here. You map it to an existing one. I think I'll say a service printout or a client printout. Maybe you want the client information with a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'll say client with a whole bunch of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you can give it a description if you like. Okay, you can make this a default. So when anyone goes to client record and clicks print, this will be the template that is automatically selected for them. I'm not going to click save and close. I'm just going to close out of this. So that's enough of a demonstration there. Once you do that, you'll get something like this. You'll get a row here. These are all different printouts. Excuse me. So if I click on this link here, some of them can't be edited because those are the default ones. If I click on this link here, that will give me the info that we just saw, the basic info about the printout template. But if I click on this icon here, the set square and the pencil, that's going to show us something that is also pretty scary to the eyes. Feel free to freak out about this one if you want to. I do. I don't know how these work. I can't help you with them. People ask me, can you tell me how I can put this data and that data into it? And I just say, I can have a look. And then within about this less than 5 minutes, I'm saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. There's a name for this, Dev Express or something like that. So this is a piece of software that's kind of been slotted into class, and you can work with it if you want. Don't ask me how. I don't know how it works. So you can get data into here. I don't know what I'm doing. There's some way to get data in here. I don't know what it is though, but there are printout templates. This is what they look like. If you want to try working with them, go for it. If you want to look up, I think it's Dev Express. If you want to know exactly what this software is called, let us know. There is, I think there's online documentation that can help you with this. Anyway, I might move on because that's basically my knowledge on the printout templates. Essentially, I know that they exist and that's about it. Okay. Next one is, sorry that that's such a bad demonstration, but I just don't know how that works. Email templates, these ones are not as bad. I'll show you what these ones look like. So this will be the templates for when things get emailed from class. You can edit those as well. So we've got one here, calendar file. What else have we got? Copy of center report submitted. Oh, that'll be in an accountability thing. I'll just open that one. A critical date reminder. These are ones that I suspect probably get emailed out of class quite a bit. So I'll click on that link, and again, you could probably click new to create your own. Okay, so here's our template. So it's got a name, and if you're setting one up, this is what it will look like. You'll need to map it to an existing one and then give it a name, probably something a bit better than that. Name it whatever you like. You can give it a description if you like. Subject. So what this is this is a data, give me a second, a data source, right? So the subject, this is going to be the subject line of the email, and this one contains data sources. So this one says action schedule critical date type. So it's going to give us the type of critical date, and it'll just put that in there depending on what the type of action that it is. And then it'll give us the client's last name, and then it says class. So you can change that to whatever you want. And if you want, and these are the data sources here. So you could say, I want to take this, the service ID, and I want to put that in the subject line, or maybe I want to put it here, which it's already there. So you could actually just say, I don't want that in the email template. You could, and then you could change what is in the body of the template. I don't know. You could do whatever you want. You can change the body of it. You could put something in the bottom of here, and I don't know, do whatever you like, whatever makes sense to you. So I'm just doing design here. You can put HTML in. Apparently, I didn't even actually know that. I might just click out of that because I don't know how many people are going to want to do that. This is just a basic word editor, so you could edit your text and what data goes in here using the data sources. You can edit the subject line, the sender profile. I think you just need to select that. That's coming from the email profile that we looked at very briefly earlier. So I think you'll probably need to select one of those before these email templates will work. You can deactivate email templates if you want. And again, you can set them as default as well if you like. Those are the email templates, a little bit easier to work with than the printout templates. At least I think so. Let me know if there's any questions on any of this. Not seeing any coming through right now, so I might move on. Email templates, client merges. Okay, well, looks like we're just about to run over time, but this one's kind of, this is a good piece of functionality, but as it says there, it should be used with caution. Let's go back to class. Looks like we're coming to the end. This is the last thing in this list, client merges now. The way they work is you select a couple of clients. I know that one I'm gonna find something, so let me see if this actually works. Find those clients, please. Click on there and client ID not valid. Okay, let me try this. I'm going to capitalize that and then this, and I think that's what is causing that. Find those clients. Nope, 111's not valid. Interesting. Let me, that's not going to work. Come on. No. Bear with me. I know this does work. I've just remembered, I think I've got a couple of clients with, I mean, they're not really clients, but client IDs like that. Let me see, there we go. Okay, so it's found our clients. So you've realized that you've got the same, it's the exact same person and they're in class twice and you want to merge all of the information together, you can. So we come in here, you would enter the two client IDs and it'll give you more information than this. It gives you the name, obviously these are dummy names. The service IDs, that might be a DOB, I'm not even sure. Anyway, you can choose which one you want to keep. So it'll keep this client, it'll take all the records from this client and move them into this one, and then it'll delete this now. You need to know, you need to, before you can even click this button, you have to check this you have to tick this checkbox. Now, I do want to mention this bit here of this warning message. Yeah, so some of the information gets decommissioned, meaning removed. Now, as that bit says there, which is highlighted, this process is irreversible. Now, this is why I wanted to go over this, because if you are using this, by all means do it. But if you do get this wrong, that can cause trouble. Oftentimes, I'm saying things like, class will give you this warning message, but it's not technically true. Like if you copy in clients, it'll say this process can't be reverted, but you could always go in and select the service that you copied and then delete it. This process, there is one way to reverse this process, but it's not going to happen. I'll tell you what it is. If you come to us and say, oh, that's right, I just remembered, because the person who trained me on how to train people on class, they used to always say that there would be people who would come to the class help desk occasionally and say, we know you said that process was irreversible. Just how irreversible is it? Anyway, the answer to that is the only way to undo a client merge would be to roll back the entire class database to just before the date and time when you did the client merge. Now that would involve going to all 100, 150, 180 legal service providers who use class and have data in class and asking them would they be okay with their data being rolled back to this date and time. And you can imagine what you would say if someone asked you if you were okay with that. So that's how irreversible this process is. There's one way to do it, but it's not going to happen. So you have to tick this checkbox, and then you're going to click merge clients, and it's going to give you another warning message saying basically the same thing. And because it is so irreversible, I'm going to click no. I'm not even going to do it. But there are people out there who do it. I've heard people say they do it pretty regularly. So yeah, use it if you want to, but please do be aware that it should be used with caution and that there can be issues if you do get this wrong. It might mean you have to go through and find up old data, like in paper files or something, and re-enter it into class. I don't know, but undoing this if you make a mistake, not easy. Okay, there is a question. With emails, can you receive reminders for report due dates? Ooh, that's a good one. Report due dates. I might come back to that. Yeah, we've just about reached our time now. Client merge. Okay, I would like to do this really quickly. I'm just, to the person who asked that question, I'm not sure right off the top of my head. I think so. But just, if I could just finish up these last few little bits and then I will get to that. Yeah. Okay, so this is one of my favorite tech terms, this one. It sounds really fancy, but it's actually not. Geolocation and retagging. This is about making sure your data is as accurate as possible. Now, the reason I do this as part of this training session is that your staff with the general user roles set on their class accounts won't have access to it, so they may be asking you to do it. It's only available to the advanced admin role. I think it might be available to the admin role, the admin role as well as the advanced admin role, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I'll go and show you what I'm talking about. So flicking back to class, and I'm going to go and open a service. Now, what happens sometimes is that, I'll give you the example, is that you have an appointment with a client, maybe this is someone you've seen before, and they are saying that during your appointment with them, they say to you, well, I moved house over the weekend, or you know, I've moved house since the last time I saw you, and you say, okay, great, no problem. And you give them legal advice or whatever you do, and then you enter a service into class and you save it, and all good, all fine. And then you remember 30 seconds later, oh, hang on, they told me that they'd moved house. So I need to update class with that information. So what you would do is come into not additional parties, you'd have to open the client record, and then you would have to open additional details. And then you would add their new address and save that, and all well and good. But there's a little catch here. I'll flick back to this service. So all of these services have a little what we call a geolocation stamp. It's basically the client's address is stamped to the back of all of these services. Now you won't see it anywhere here, but it is stamped to the back of the service where no one can actually see it. Anyway, the reason for that is because funding bodies want to know where services were delivered to, or where clients were living when their services were delivered to them. So we stamp all the back of these services with this address information. So in our example, we've set up this service, and then we went and updated the client details with the new address. But this service is going to have the wrong address stamped to the back of it. But we've got a feature to fix that. It's called the retagging feature, and there's a button there that says retag. This is really simple. This one I'm happy to do. Are you sure you want to retag this service? Yes, I am. So what is going to happen when I click yes is that whatever the primary address on the client details is now going to be stamped to the back of this service. So if it's the same, it'll be updated to be the same. If it's a new one, it'll be updated to be the new one. So that just keeps your data just that little bit cleaner, which we always like. Okay. That's geolocation and retagging, a really fancy sounding tech term, but a fairly simple concept in the end, really. That's about it. Now, I'm going to go back to this question with emails. Can you receive reminders for report due dates? How about if I take this one off of this question, if I take this question off of this training session and I get back to you about that. I do have a note about this question, so I could get back to you about it just to show you, because I've got a couple of questions for you about this question. Bear with me. Reminders of report due dates. So I'm thinking the report due dates relate to accountability. If that's not right, then I'm just going to be going over something that doesn't make any sense. And I've just realized, I don't know actually. I'm not sure about that. Can you get with a due date? Yeah, to be honest with you, if this is what the question is about, I'm not sure, but I've got your name and I've got that note for that question. So I might look up the answer to that and get back to you. Finding documentation, getting help. I would imagine most people would have seen this, but I'll just do it very quickly. If my computer will work. Okay, I'll click on this little button here to open the class documentation, and all the documentation for this will be in the admin manual. Yep, inside the admin manual, and then inside the tools. So we've got a whole section on tools. There's also system settings. I wouldn't worry about remote access. We'll come back to that next week. Tools is going to be the one that we're looking at today. And all of the stuff we spoke about is all in there, including other stuff as well. So there's the documentation, accountability. Yeah, all right, I'm going to need to look up an answer for you on that, but I will do that. If you do need to help with class, you can contact the class help desk. So we're in the class documentation, which you can find through class on that little, the little icon, the question mark in a circle, that'll bring you over to the class documentation. And then down the bottom, we've got help and support. And inside here are the 3 ways to contact the class help desk. The email address is probably the most used one, icthelp@clcs.org.au. We get a lot of people emailing us there, and we respond to a lot of help desk inquiries from that email address. We've also got the class portal. You can use it to keep track of all your inquiries in one place. Anyway, this is the portal, and your requests will live up here now. You would just go in and say, I want to ask a question about LexisNexis NAS portal or something that's not about those 3 systems. You'll click on general. If it's about class and it might be about a request for more training, you could click on there and add your question. I wonder if you can change this. No, you can't. All right, fine. You would add your description and click create. That will create your help desk request. So that's basically finding documentation and getting help. I think most people know about that generally by now. This is the phone number. I just remembered I forgot the 3rd way to contact us. The phone number is right there. If you do call us and you don't get an answer, please do leave a voicemail. We do listen to them all and we will respond to you if you leave your name and number. Okay. Thanks for being part of this class training session. To the person who asked about accountability, I'll send you an email about that. We hope this has helped. There's a few little tools in there for class administrators, and if you would like to contact us, there's the help desk email address again, and that's going to be. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So yeah, thanks again for being part of this class training session, and bye for now from CLCs Australia.